Do you remember coodies? You remember that when we were like elementary school and kindergarten? When the people that were generally of the opposite sex, if you were a boy, all the girls had cooties. If you were a girl, all the boys had cooties. And you couldn't let them touch you. I mean, you couldn't let them get close enough to like embrace you or even just rub up against you. Sometimes just that finger, that was enough for you to get cooties, and you had to run for your life to get rid of cooties. Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast, 5-minute videos, 5 days a week. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and today cooties generally are not transferred from little boys to little girls in elementary school, but via social media. Yep, that's where it comes from now. We tend to forget as leaders that we have these associations, these relationships, these people from our past that we used to work with, or we used to go to school with, or we used to hang out with. And we don't know after 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 3 decades, 4 decades, what they think anymore. I mean, we used to hang out together, but we were 10. We used to play on the same team in high school sports, but we were 15. A lot has changed since then. The political affiliations they have now, the places they went to college versus where we went to college, the type of friends that they hang out with, their income bracket, all of these things influence the way they think and the other people they hang out with and their associations and their friendships. And who knows who has cooties now? And yet, as leaders, we forget sometimes that the voice that we lend, that stamp of approval, that credibility, that willingness to say, I'm all in with this person, has deep, deep tentacles in their connections and their relationships and their affiliations and the work that they've done and the people they've been around and the people they've spent time with. And we forget that it's not just the person that we're talking about, that we're endorsing, that we're speaking up for, but it's everyone that they've spoken up for and everyone that speaks up for them. There was a campaign, I guess it's been, probably 20, 25 years now that it was in the high schools, but it was just a picture of a guy and a girl kissing each other. And it was when there was a big outbreak of mononucleosis, and in the picture it was the guy and the girl kissing each other, and then behind them was every guy that she had kissed and every girl that he had kissed. And it made the point that you're not just kissing the person you're kissing everybody they've kissed. And that kind of reality sets in social media. It's not just who's on your friends list, it's who's on their friends list. And it's not just the voice that you lend to them when you lend the credibility of liking their post or sharing their post or endorsing their ideas because they're your friend. It's everything that represents and how deep that goes. We saw in our last election cycle a number of news media outlets that would post things not telling you that they had another motive. And so ideas were floated out there that, frankly, some of them were just outright lies. But they were floated out there and they had enough resonating truth in them that some people really wanted to believe these lies. And so because they wanted to believe, they would share it, or they would click like, or they would copy and paste, or they would comment on the post. And by association, all of their friends now would see the same thing and think, well, if they believe that and I trust them, then maybe I should consider that as well. And now all of a sudden you've got the kissing virus or you've got the cootie virus and somebody's touched you and it's all over you and you can't get rid of it. And we forget that that kind of association, loose association, intentional associations, it doesn't really matter. The association alone is sometimes all it takes. And we recently had a trial before Congress, a hearing before Congress, where people from 4 decades ago were called to testify. They were subpoenaed and asked to stand before Congress and say, what do you know about this person? And many of them went, I haven't seen him since high school. I mean, he's on the news, she's on the news, that's all I know. They don't know anything else. But that cooties, that kissing virus, that guilt by association, it flows through your words and through your social media contacts and through the people you work for. And so I just wonder, as a leader, have you already made a decision to say, These are my core values. This is where I stand. This is what I believe. This is what I stand for. I've worked really hard to build my reputation, to be integrous in all of my dealings, to have my reputation impeccable. And if the moment comes up that I'm asked to testify or lend my voice to or speak on behalf of someone else, I want to make sure that I'm protecting what I've invested in up to this point. See, the time to make that decision and to choose how you'll react is not in the moment that you're asked to act. It's now. To choose now whose side you'll be on, to choose now whose position you'll lend voice to choose now whose credibility you'll support. That's a decision that you as a leader need to make now, not in the moment, but now. Whose voice will you support? To whom will you lend your voice? I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.